The Deep Six. 6 stories from your world in 30 minutes or less. Hosted by Patty Steele and Steve Cochran. The Deep Six is on.
This is The Deep Six, where Patty Steele and Steve Cochran get together and kick around 6 stories for you to talk about later. We're having a lot of fun doing it. Patty Steele is live in New York, where you hear her mornings on CBS FM. Does amazing work there, always has, and I have no doubt always will.
Well, yeah, as far as we know.
and Patty's nice enough to be a fan of my podcast called Live from My Office.
Love it.
And that is on wherever podcasts grow and are heard. But you can also go to CochranShow.com or PattySteele.com to get this Deep Six and everything else that we're talking about here. Or
yeah, you can reach out to us through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and chat us up and say nice things, hopefully, because we don't like to read mean and terrible content. But if you send it to us, we'll still read it.
I can tell you right now that if you send us a hurtful, hateful email, I'll turn it into shtick. So feel free to throw those out as well.
And shame you at the same time.
Yes. But here's a good example, thecochranshow@gmail.com. And I mean good, as in good example. Jim writes, Steve and Patty, the Deep Six is great. I hope you keep doing it for a while. Loving it. Jim Bubis, Bubis. We're getting a lot of those and we appreciate it. So anything on your mind, any question, a story idea you might have, get a hold of us through social media, the websites mentioned, or just drop me an email at thecochranshow@gmail.com. Let's get started with item number 1.
The Deep Six. Story number 1.
You like to do a little pop culture.
Yes. Love pop culture.
Succession just had its finale. Did you watch?
Did you just say Succession?
I did. And I was hoping you wouldn't notice that my teeth apparently flew out of my mouth. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. No, we love Succession. Love the best cast show on television, pretty much. I mean, there's so many.
It's good.
There are a lot of great shows on right now, but that show, it blows me away. Everybody on it is just perfect. Logan Roy, the dad, Brian Cox, is spectacular. In fact, you can't imagine him like heading down to the subway and hopping on a subway train because he is that billionaire. It's amazing. And then you have this incredible relationship between Shiv and Roman.
Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, Kieran Culkin, exactly. And Sarah Snook. You can imagine those two as real life brother and sister, because guess what? I have a similar relationship with one of my brothers.
Is that right?
We just kind of go after each other, but we love each other at the same time. But there's that little competitive thing that goes on, and it's fun.
Now, here's the thing. We don't want to spoil the finale for you because we live in this world now where you could actually talk about something like, I don't know, the end of Gone with the Wind. And there's somebody that hasn't seen it.
Right. And they'll be mad at you.
Yeah. And it's going to be mad at you. But we don't need to talk about that to tell you Succession's great and we love it. But you've got an interesting tie here to the Golden Globes, which are coming up.
Well, we know, and we have known for all the seasons of Succession, that there is a weird relationship between the kids and their dad. He loves them, they love him, but the competitiveness really, really has amped up this season. And certainly in the finale, we saw that. But the interesting thing is the dad, Logan, and eldest son, Kendall, or Ken, as they call him, they're probably the most competitive, and this season going after each other like crazy. Well, interestingly enough, the Hollywood Foreign Press announced their nominations for the Golden Globes, and Succession had the most nods of any of the TV shows. And both Logan, and I'm using their characters' names, both Logan and Kendall were nominated for Best Actor.
So they literally could take the rivalry to the acceptance of whoever wins the Globe, because I'd be shocked if one of them wasn't it.
Right. Exactly. So that is, I thought that was just
very cool.
Too perfect. And the interesting thing is I read an interview recently with Brian Cox, Logan, and he talked about. By the way,
Brian Cox is freaking brilliant in everything he does.
Everything. Well, he was talking about how he worries about the guy that plays Kendall, because he said he is such a method actor that he said he's going to burn out. He's 42 years old now, but he said you can't keep up that level of immersing yourself into a character who is so completely angst-ridden and falling apart in some cases, and maintain that through all the filming. You take that home with you. it takes a toll. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out on the Golden Globes. I think, honestly, probably Logan is hoping that Kendall wins only because he doesn't want to have him have a heart attack on the stage if if he doesn't win.
And that's real fatherly concern. It's art imitating life, imitating life, imitating art. It's all right there for you.
It's right there.
But if you're looking for something to binge and you haven't found something, or you've binged everything else, man, do Succession. Yeah, absolutely do Succession.
Absolutely amazing.
By the way, another show business note, if you don't mind, there's a young actor who you may know from The Matrix, who has been around for quite some time now.
Yeah, not so young anymore.
57.
I know, right?
57 years old. Now, Keanu Reeves was interviewed because the new Matrix is coming out. Of course, he's been John Wick forever.
Yeah.
And I used to write him off as that guy. Right. He actually has a lot to say, and he's a pretty good actor. He really is. And I never really gave him the respect he deserved because, frankly, the movies he's been in, not necessarily my thing.
But he's a really good person, too. That's the interesting
That's what I hear.
Thing. Yeah,
that's what I hear. Now, I have nothing but respect for his regimen to get in shape. He said it's much harder to get in shape now than it was when he was 30. That's obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you know what he does to get in shape at 57?
What?
Eats a lot of steak.
What? Binges on steak.
Binges on steak. The protein that he gets from red meat, he said, is crucial to get in fighting shape to do what he does in these movies. We salute the steer listening now, wherever you're listening on whatever platform.
Salute the steer.
And we say to the steer, follow us, subscribe wherever you can. But I think that's cool. Keanu Reeves likes a good steak.
Do you think he eats the steak that we were talking about last week that comes through a 3D printer?
I think he'd probably try all steak. I don't know that he's getting all the protein from the printer, though. I don't know.
So here's my question. Do you think that Meryl Streep got her butt in shape for what's a movie called? Just Look Up or Look Up? Or
Don't Look Up. Don't look up. Right.
Whoops. Because, I mean, the woman, what is she, like 72 years old? Yep. She's got her butt showing on the movie, right?
Yeah, I don't want to be a spoiler here, but it is a stunt butt. And as you know, I did most of the stunt butt work for all the male stars of the 90s.
I could use one now in everyday life.
I was Kevin Costner's ass in more than one Western.
Now you're my ass.
That's exactly right. And it's an upgrade. But the thing is, she is as good as she's ever been. Mm-hmm. This cast is amazing. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
But Leonardo DiCaprio actually went to Adam McKay, the director that made this movie. Adam McKay, Will Ferrell pals, or at least they were. More on that in a moment. And said, I'm not comfortable with Meryl Streep. Do we really need to shoot that? Because he so reveres her.
Oh, well, I thought you meant he's not comfortable working with her. No.
He loves her.
He's not comfortable with her butt showing.
Right. And then Adam McKay had to point out, that's not Meryl's butt. That's the character. And she's okay with it. She plays the president, the female president in this particular thing. Anyway, the movie itself, I think looks tremendous. The comet that's going to kill us all and crash into Earth that's being ignored by Washington is a metaphor for global warming that's being annoyed by politicians.
And not just politicians, it's also on television because these guys go to television. Jennifer Lawrence is in it as well.
Yep.
They go to try to warn the world about the impending end of the world. And they're on this TV morning show and they're going, oh, boy, this is quite a downer. We don't really want to talk about downers here on TV.
Right.
And so that's what it's all about. Some of the critics don't like it for that reason because they say that, it's too important of a topic to turn it into a comedy. And it's a little bit, these guys are just kind of like, they said just kind of entitled big stars, having fun with something that is really a serious topic. But
I don't see it that way. I mean, again, I haven't seen the movie yet, but you've got to have big stars to get the attention. And the fact that Adam McKay has been able to fold this message into a satire of Washington and how they behave, I think he structured it really well. Now, I may watch the movie and take back everything I just said, but I hope it's okay. But it brings up something that you and I've sort of talked about before.
Right.
If you see a bad review of a movie you really want to see, will you still go?
Yeah, because I've seen bad reviews of movies and then been dragged to the movie and been surprised. I actually saw the Lady Gaga movie House of Gucci recently, and a lot of people were trashing her. Now, that did much better in review, and she's getting nominated for awards. So she's doing okay. But everybody was saying, oh, God, you can't believe her because her Italian accent makes her sound Russian. Got to say, sat down because, again, dragged there by a friend. And the first thing, I was overwhelmed with her Russian accent.
Right.
She thought it was Italian. But as you get into the movie, she and Adam Driver are so and Jared Leto so good that that doesn't even seem important to me anymore. I heard the perfection of her Italian accent because the character is riveting. Adam Driver, he can't do anything wrong as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I saw some reviews that weren't great about that. This one, the interesting thing, if you look like on Rotten Tomatoes, which is an aggregate site, critics not liking it, they give it a 55, which is kind of a mild disapproval, but the audience gives it a 76 and they like it. So, see it at your own risk.
Adam McKay explained the 07-08 financial crisis in a very entertaining way in The Big Short.
Oh, what a great movie.
Yeah, and he took a lot of grief about that too. So I got no axe to grind or, no participation trophy for Adam McKay. Frankly, I've never even met him. But I'm a big fan and I hope it works out. Now, here's the other thing I hope works out. He and Will Ferrell aren't pals anymore. Did you know that?
Yeah, they used to work together pretty closely, right?
They started a thing called Gary Sanchez Productions. They produced and made the Anchorman movies and a bunch of other things. And then a movie comes along a few years ago because McKay's a pretty big deal filmmaker now. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, Will Ferrell's supposed to play the lead, and McKay decides John C. Reilly's a better fit. Now that gets even more complicated because John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell were stepbrothers, the movie.
Right, sure.
And they worked on Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, all that.
Right.
So it was awkward all the way around. And Adam McKay said he blew it. It should have been something that he handled better with Will, and he hopes they can patch things up and put it together again. And so do I, because they started the website Funny or Die. They're great together. Neither one of them needs each other professionally, but I just don't like to hear stories about lifelong friends or career lifelong friends that blow up. That's all.
Yeah. And here's the thing. They're both still incredibly successful. So, put it aside. Well, get in touch with them and make sure you patch that up for them. Okay.
Yeah, I'll make it work. I am the longstanding Secretary of State of show business disputes. So, putting them together.
The Deep Six, number 2.
Item number 2, I love, and I didn't know anything about this. And be warned, this is what can happen even if you're super rich and famous. Tell the story, please.
Yes. Anybody who's ever had little kids in their life are going to get a kick out of this. Kim Kardashian and her 8-year-old daughter, North, who's her oldest kid, recently created a TikTok account together. And of course, within probably 15 minutes, they had 2.5 million followers.
It's crazy.
Well, recently, little North figured out how to access the video making app. And she actually gave a live tour of their house without mom's permission and probably without the permission of all the bodyguards that float around the house. And what you see is this little one showing off her bedroom, all this pink fluffy stuff.
Sure.
And then she takes a tour out and her little brothers and sisters are outside watching TV, and they all, weigh in and say hello. And then she says, and here's the Christmas decorations in the house, where she put these gingerbread things everywhere. And then she finished it up by walking into Mama's room, and there's Kim lying in bed. And here's the thing, unless she is a spectacular actress, I got to believe she did not know this was going to happen. She looks completely shocked. Now, my big takeaway was she had gorgeous sheets. Oh my gosh. The sheets were like,
what are we talking about? 12,000 count?
Yeah, most likely they were soft beige. They had this sheen to them. The bed looked like it was like a double king size. So I was kind of really taken with that. There was no one else in the bed with her, thank goodness. But she probably had at least 8 to 12 pillows on the bed. But there she was in all her glory, looking at the camera, and that was it. It was live on TikTok.
I wonder how Kim Kardashian would discipline her daughter and teach her a lesson. Would she take away the Lamborghini she's buying her in 8 years? I mean, what do you do?
Okay, you're going to have to wait for that Hermes bag until the next holiday.
So, but that's what happens, right? I mean, I can't think of anything specifically where the kids did something that may have affected me professionally because, like you, my kids are such great joy. And I'm not saying that Little North isn't great joy for her, but somehow it makes it fun that the kid just figured this out on her own and just decided to give the tour of the house.
Well, and it's a different time. Like when you and I were raising our kids, you didn't have all of these different social media sites and, there were phones, but they weren't like high tech the way they are now, where you could live share what's going on in your house. I do remember one time I was trying to sleep in because I've always done morning radio and it was a Saturday morning. And I felt this little hand go onto my eye and pull my eyelid open. And my little boy say, "Mommy, are you in there?"
Oh, that's fantastic. What a cool memory.
Yes, I'm in there. And now I'm about to be out.
Yeah, my son, who's now a grown man, would come around to my side of the bed, and he was just tall enough to be like at eye level.
Right.
And he wouldn't say anything. And then there'd be a noise or maybe coughing to wake me up or whatever. And he's maybe 3 or 4th time. And I'd wake up and I'd look at him, and there's that moment where it scares the hell out of you because you're being stared at from 4 inches away.
Right.
And
they're studying you.
You just go, "Hey, Pops, want to go watch TV?" And of course you go, "Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking that."
Yeah, I know. Every moment with them is so precious. So yeah, I really love that story. I thought that was precious.
Very cool. Now, item number 3. This is surprise and maybe even a little bit of a warning in the new world we live in where so many of us work at home. I had not heard of Sneak. Explain what this is and why I'm worried.
Well, it could well be that you don't know what it is, but you're already being watched. It is workplace surveillance. Sneak is just one of the companies. There are so many other companies like this that are doing the same thing and putting out these programs that your boss legally can access and place into a work computer that you have at home. And they can do everything with Sneak. What they do is every 5 minutes, they take a webcam shot of you, and hopefully you're sitting at your computer. They can also access your desktop and see what you're working on and where you are and where you're traveling to. Some of them are really kind of scary. There are some companies that they say can track your keystrokes, your communication, your social media accounts, your desktop, and even your webcam so that they can look and take a peek at you. But Sneak, they said their signups have gone tenfold. It went tenfold in just the first few months of the pandemic. Others have said the same thing. It's one place called an online search. This is what they were saying. An online search for, quote, how to monitor employees working from home increased by 1,700% in April of 2020 and 652% in May of that year. And they say that just this software is just absolutely flying off the, well, it doesn't fly off the shelf, but whatever.
It flies off intellectually off the shelves.
But it has an impact on employees because now that they know about it, and if anybody calls them to task for something that would have been accessed through this kind of thing, they say it really, really crushes morale. And of course, they share it with other employees. They say, "Hey, we're being watched," and it really cuts down on their happiness.
Here's the thing, though, and I'm torn by this, right? Because it's creepy. It's really creepy. But if you're running a business and you need to have people that are working in a way that you haven't dealt with before, you can't walk by their cubicle and say, "Hey, Bob, I told you I needed that by 3.
Where are you gumming on it?
Right. So, as long as you're not getting Jeffrey Toobined, and I think we all know what that means.
Yes.
They do have to have some way to monitor you. But I guess by the same token, I'd say if you're concerned about people not doing their job, you got the wrong people working for you.
Right. And it wouldn't output. Sorry about that. Wouldn't output actually tell the story as effectively.
Yeah. So I don't know. It does seem, I'm going to go 60-40 creepy versus necessary. How about you?
Yeah, I'm on the creepy side, right? Is that where we are? It's a little more creepy than it is necessary, but we understand why they're doing it, sort of. And we'd like it to stop immediately. For us.
The Deep Six, number 4.
Item number 4. This is interesting to me because you and I live in a business and have forever where a lot of the business is done over a lunch or a dinner.
Right.
Or a breakfast for that matter.
Yeah.
And because you eat out a lot, you have favorite places.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I've ever had a favorite place like this. I'm in Chicago, and not far away is a town called Joliet, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And in Joliet, Illinois is a delightful fella who really likes his similarities to be similar to the way they were the day before. I'm talking about John Brusick, who eats twice a day at a place called the Golden Corral on West Jefferson Street in Joliet, Illinois. He's done it for the last 7.5 years.
Oh,
he's eaten 4,000 meals at this restaurant in 7.5 years.
Now, you told me about this story, but you neglected to use the words Golden Corral. Have you ever been at one?
Yeah, and that's why, and again,
you're confused.
No, if you like Golden Corral, it's okay. It's just no. I got to say no, because Golden Corral is an all-you-can-eat buffet situation.
Right. It's inexpensive. It has
but the fact that this guy has survived.
Yeah.
There's no nutritionist on site at the Golden Corral. I'm not criticizing what anybody eats. Lord knows I should criticize myself. But the fact is, eating twice a day, 7 days a week, 4,000 times, this guy ought to be held up as a medical miracle.
They have a massive number of different kinds of meals there. They have a perfectly fine salad bar with a sneeze guard. I think it's okay. I don't have a problem with him doing that.
All right.
Maybe not
I don't want to be uppity.
Maybe not my choice, but I think it makes sense from a financial standpoint, from a variety of choice standpoint. And maybe, who knows, maybe he lives like next door and it's just easy to walk over there rather than go to the kitchen,
Yeah, and maybe I should remember my roots because I was a poor kid and mom made fried chicken one night, stew the next night. And we had our regular rotation of goulash. Right. We had our regular rotation of foods. We didn't know we were poor. And yet, if I were to think about a place that I would like to eat every day for the rest of my life, Bill Rancic.
Yeah, sure. Juliana is what, yep.
Bill's got a number of restaurants around the country and he lives here and he's a friend. And we're often confused for each other.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. And one of them is an Italian place, which to me is a place that I should go into and they should lock the doors and they should just feed me. It's that good.
One of those places where you just lay down and they pile it into your mouth.
Well, what about you? A place you would eat for the rest of your life?
I have 3 of them that I really, really love. But I don't know if I could do it every day. Like Gallagher's in New York is an old school steakhouse. Never had a bad meal there ever. Never had a waiter that wasn't anything but solicitous and wonderful.
Yep, I know that place.
I love that place. But I might get tired of the big steaks, unlike Keanu Reeves. And then I have 2 that were around here. One of them, Shangdu 46.
What a great place.
Clifton, New Jersey. You've been there with me. Was drop dead the best Chinese restaurant I've ever eaten in.
100%.
Miss it. It shut down some years ago, long before the pandemic. I miss that. And the other place was Pal's Cabin. Pal's Cabin started, it was not very far from here, started in 1932 as a hot dog stand and kept expanding. And let me tell you, in their the expensive side of the restaurant, which wasn't very expensive, it was the log cabin room or something like that, was the first place Liberace ever played.
Come on, really?
So they had these signed pictures from him. Yeah, I mean, this was a place that in the 30s, it developed during the 30s and then the 40s and the 50s and the 60s really expanded. It was a great place, great everything from steaks to great hamburgers, fried chicken. It was very child friendly. My kids would sit in baby carriers on the table, the same waitresses and cooks forever. Yeah. And I also used to use it as my kitchen. I would need to get dinner on the table and I would call over there and get food delivered and it was wonderful. But, suddenly in my neck of the woods, everybody started wanting to eat from different cultures. And for whatever reason, these old school Americana type restaurants shut down around here.
Which is too bad.
Yeah, we don't even have any. I mean, we have a few diners and things like that, but they're not on that level. So if you're, just wanting a great just sit down, get service with, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, a slug of scotch or whatever it is. Yeah, they're not there anymore.
Yeah, which is too bad. Support your local eateries, folks.
The Deep Six, number 5.
This one you told me about, it makes me feel good, and it should make other people feel good, because item number 5 puts to rest a myth that we're dumb and they're smart. So go ahead and tell everybody.
Well, the phrase is, it's not rocket science or it's not brain surgery. They say got some researchers wondering if rocket scientists and brain surgeons really are smarter than the rest of us. It turns out, first of all, neither outperformed the other in regular cognitive tests, but also neither outperformed the general population either. And what they did is they noted as they went and studied what these guys do and women do was that they have specific narrow fields that they're really good at because they've donated or dedicated all of their time to knowing everything there is to know about rocket science or everything there is to know about brain surgery. So they know a lot about a little, as opposed to people like you and I who know a little about a whole bunch of things. They didn't have that broad of knowledge, and that was sort of interesting.
And in regards to that, you should go and find the nearest brilliant Nobel Prize winning brain surgeon or rocket scientist and go, nah, right to their face.
I'm smarter than you.
Sure.
Right.
The Deep Six, number 6.
Item number 6 is a little bit of nostalgia for the holidays, but we've all seen these toy crazes that pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And this toy craze a story about toy crazes are about the violence that erupts amongst allegedly well-meaning parents who just are not going to be denied in getting their kid that toy.
Right.
I remember this one, the Tickle Me Elmo craze.
Oh my God. People went nuts. They were like, my kid deserves that, not yours.
Right.
I mean,
so here's a perfect example. Robert Waller, employee at a Walmart in New Brunswick, Canada. He had the misfortune of trying to come between shoppers when a shipment of Elmos came in. He came out of that a week before Christmas with a broken rib, a pulled hamstring, and a full-on concussion.
Wow.
He said, I was pulled under, trampled. My crotch was yanked out of my brand new jeans. Boy, you don't want that.
How do you get your crotch? Wow.
You don't want your crotch yanked, though that was a band I was in, the Crotch Yankers. And it was just nothing but a mess. But I have a story, which I'll post to the show notes, about a bunch of other crazes that also led to violence, including the Furby craze.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Furbies? Another Walmart.
Sure, of course.
Another Walmart on Black Friday in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where 2 women trampled 2 other women who got head, neck, and back injuries. And guess what? Walmart got sued over that. And the list just goes on and on and on. There was even Frozen riots, which I don't remember, just a few years ago, because people wanted the Frozen dolls. So here's the thing. If your kid doesn't get that toy, they will survive. It's not worth doing a hard time over. I'm just saying.
That's right. Well, don't forget the Cabbage Patch dolls. You know how much people were paying for those?
Yeah. There was like a black market for it, right?
And Lego Star Wars sets.
Oh
my God. That was my house. My son's. Oh my Lord. And funny enough, my son last year was red hot over a PlayStation. He's 25. I mean, and this year he calls me up and he says to me, Mom, I really, really want the new Xbox. And I said, didn't I get you that last year? And he went, no, that was the PlayStation. And I said, okay. And they're like, they're like $800, $800. I don't know what.
Right.
Funny enough, he called me, and this tells me that I am no longer the mother of a child when it comes to him. My other 2, yes. He calls me up and says, I would like to rescind that order for the Xbox. And I said, really? Why? And he said, because you guys have been doing a whole lot for me this year. Wow. And I just feel like the expense, that kind of expense for a toy, he called it a toy, doesn't really make sense. So he said, please don't pursue that.
God bless him. I'd hug him if he were nearby.
Yeah, well, you know what my impulse was? It was to say, "Oh no, honey, I'm going to get that for you." And then I went,
Sure.
"No,
Sure.
be a mother before you are a friend." And I said, "I really, really appreciate that, sweetheart." So there you go.
By the way, in a future episode of the Deep Six, Patty and I will cover how our generation of parents meaning well have almost ruined our children. Not our children. It's you other parents. It's not us.
Yes. No, God, no, not us.
Yeah. All right. So we always throw in an extra story at the end that we didn't have time for, an abbreviated version. Let me do mine first because we're in a Christmas travel season and flight attendants are speaking out over something they all seem to agree on. And that is if you get a meal on a flight and you decide to eat that meal on a flight, and frankly, the meals are, they're okay. They're not the punchline that they've always been. It depends on the airline. Like, for instance, there's an airline I don't want to mention, but it rhymes with Frontier. And if you go on to Frontier Airlines where it's like $4 or Spirit Airways, where it's $4 and everything is an upcharge, I'm saying maybe be careful about the food. But this flight attendant says, I don't care what airline you're on. If anything you eat falls off your fork or falls off your tray,
don't pick it up.
Onto the tray table itself.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Creepy.
Do not eat it. They said the bacteria that lives on those tray tables would kill a moose or even that guy in Joliet, Illinois, who eats at the Golden Corral twice a day.
I feel this chill going down my spine.
So you've been warned.
Yeah.
You've been warned. What's your extra story?
Mine is, I'm trying to lift us up. So forget the food thing and let's move on to Christmas.
Good.
There's a couple of little life hacks that I got. We all love poinsettias. Do you realize poinsettias have been used for Christmas decorations in the U.S. for over 200 years?
No.
I don't even know where they got them in those days, but they did. And the big thing for me is I have them all over my house, but I'm always trying to keep them happy as long as possible so that by the time I get to Christmas Day or to, God forbid, New Year's Eve, I still have them in full, blush.
So what do you do?
So, well, I don't always get there because all of a sudden I see the leaves starting one by one each day. They're starting to jump off. And plant experts say, here's what you got to remember. They prefer medium to bright indirect light, maybe a windowsill. They should get as much daylight as possible. Keep them away from hot and cold drafts. They like around 70 degrees. Water them only once a week. They like their feet to be damp, but not wet or dry. So there you go. Protect your poinsettias that way.
Helping people out. And you even helped them out with the pronunciation. It's not poinsettia, it's poinsettia.
Yes. And if you also want to have your house smell like Christmas, this is a really interesting thing that went kind of viral on TikTok. This lifestyle influencer shared this recipe. And all you have to do is put a big pot full of water on the back of the stove, lowest heat possible, and put cranberries, orange slices, cloves, cinnamon sticks, and rosemary in it. Bring it to a little simmer, turn it way down, and it releases that sweet, spicy scent throughout the house.
That's way better than a story that I don't have the details in front of me. Maybe you know this story, but it was one of the beer companies that were putting out Christmas ornaments.
Oh God, you had to go there. I was trying to keep this.
Yeah, we were on a nice ending and I've ruined it. But if you want your house to smell like beer and you don't want to spill the beer to get that effect, one of the beer companies has bulbs that release the scent of beer.
Well, yeah, not really. Sort of. Miller Lite has beernaments. The decorations can hold an 8-ounce can of beer.
Oh, I completely misunderstood the story. Thank goodness you're correcting this.
Yeah. So you drain the beer and then you just pull up the tab and you hang it on the tree. So basically your tree is decorated with beer cans. I would recommend rinsing them out first, unless you like the scent of beer and pine together.
Yeah. And I would say that Jeff Foxworthy just got another line for You Might Be a Redneck If.
Exactly.
So Patty Steele, I love you. This is the Deep Six. We hope we've provided you with a little entertainment in these tough days, and we hope you're enjoying the love and time with your family, including the ones you're not so fond of, and make the most of it. And we're not promised any number of Christmases or holiday seasons. We hope yours is well. And you have the final word, Patty.
And what would that be? What should be my final word? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And I love you, Steve Cochran.
Love you back. I'd say that's just about perfect.
Thanks for listening. The Deep Six. Subscribe, rate, follow, or review at pattysteele.com or cochranshow.com.
Many people say the two nastiest words in the English language are closing costs. David Hochberger, is that true?
Yeah, well, for a lot of borrowers, they don't understand what closing costs are. And these lenders out there who are just, I don't know how they sleep with themselves. They quote these ridiculously low rates and then back it up with like triple or quadruple what regular closing costs could be. Closing costs should be between $2,100 if you don't need an appraisal and $2,400 to $2,500 if you do need an appraisal. That's ballpark. Okay.
Yeah. So closing costs doesn't have to be the dirty words. Closing costs has to be with the right people. And David Hochberg and Team Hochberg will take care of it, get it done. And again, explain it, because you'd be amazed at how individual your situation can be. And Hochberg takes all the tools he has come to know and learn and teaches people over the years and apply them to you. It just works. You want to save money? Great. You don't want to save money? Look, that's your business. But if you want
it's math, Steve.
It's just math. It's just math.
It's just math.
Math doesn't lie. And neither does Hochberg. 855-56-DAVID, 56david.com. Well, it's an honor to hear from this very special man from heaven. And boy, do we need to hear from him now to remind us why this is a wonderful life. Welcome, Jimmy Stewart. Sir, hello.
Well, it shows what you know.
What? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, well, look, fella, it could have been a wonderful life, but you idiots have messed the whole thing up.
Well, no, I'm trying to be positive here.
Listen here, fella, just save it, okay? Save it. You've got COVID, inflation, global warming, and a whole bunch of cuckoos running around getting TV time to say their asinine things here.
Well, that's true, but I just don't...
Then don't interrupt me, Junior. I'm in the middle of a sentence here, for crying out loud. You know, one of their leaders wears a fur vest and a water buffalo helmet. What the hell's that all about? Look, time's running out, man, and if you don't want to hear what's going on in management meetings up here, but because the bigwigs are angry, I hate to tell you.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, who cares about an apology, man? For goodness sakes, be a man. Yeah, that's part of the problem down there. You people have turned into a bunch of sissies with a whole lot of terrible things to say on that face thing and the tweeter.
But sir, if you
need to listen to me, because I won't be back to repeat this. So I think it's in your best interest to listen up.
Okay.
Be slow to, isn't that a proverb? Be slow to speak and quick to listen or something? But anyway,
sure.
I'm not a Bible reader. Listen, spread the word, fella. Here's a few rules to live by. You got a pen?
Yeah, I'm writing these down.
Number one, if you're mad about something, get over it or go talk to who made you mad.
Okay, that's a good one.
All right. Number two, you don't get to take things and break things that aren't yours.
Well, that's awesome.
It's just not right. It's not right.
It's good. It's good.
Number three, if you think you're better than someone because of their color or their skin or where they come from, I got news for you, pal. You're not better. You're worse, and you're a damn fool.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And number four. I'm on a roll here. If a doctor tells you to get a shot to protect you and other people, get in line, man, and do it.
Well, I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
And finally, number five, just put on a damn mask around other people until further notice.
Okay, all right.
I mean, you getting all this, Potter?
Potter? No, it's Steve.
You scurvy little spider.
No, it's Steve. It's Steph
you
Potter.
You spin your webs and you do this.
Jimmy. It's Steve. It's Steve.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't know whatever your name is. You know, I wrote a lot of poems.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm going to end this with one now. If you'd like to, could I recite this?
I'd like to hear it. I'd like to end on a positive note.
I'm going to recite this, and you want to do some good. You spread this around, okay?
Okay.
You're recording this?
Yes, of course, absolutely, yes.
All right, here we go. It goes like this. It's easy to smile. It's easy to smile when life's worthwhile, and all is bright and chipper. Yeah. But the man who's truly worthwhile is the man who can smile when he catches himself in his zipper.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. And in that poem, we're the zipper, right?
No, smart guy. You people are what's getting caught in the zipper. Think about that for a minute before you open your mouth.
Right.
I've got to go, but just remember this. Every time Tucker Carlson opens his mouth, more brain cells die.
Well, I appreciate you taking my call from heaven, Jimmy Stewart.
Sure. Now lose my number.
Airwaves, you have turned your dial to me. Now you're tuned into my podcast. It's live from my office, Steve. From Ithaca, New York to Carolina South, W. Cochran Steve. From Minneapolis and then Chicago twice, top rated shows achieved. Sit back, relax, and now listen to my show. When or wherever you are, 'cause you're on the go. A-list celebs with some laughs and great info. Live from my office, the Steve Cochran Podcast Show. Yeah. No better place to be. Yeah. Subscribe and like for free. Yeah. Live from my office, Steve. So glad you're with me. It's live from my office, Steve.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.